Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Flag. My name is Lucas Wacker, and alongside me we have Kyle Cushman, bright and early on Thursday at 9 a.m. Man, it's the second week. I'm already loving this time slot. It's Daytona 500 week.
That's the lone silver lining. It's getting up nice and early. You know what? I don't mind the getting up early part. It forces you to get up early. You're more productive throughout the day. Don't mind that part of it, but man, it's almost 500 time.
Yeah,
like it's creeping up.
It's weekend basically.
We got the duels tonight, and then we've got racing every day until Sunday in the 500. It's a good feeling. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've been waiting 2 long months. It feels like just for this moment. Shortest off season, but totally worth it.
Shortest off season in sports, at the very least, North American sports, and yet it still feels like it's a while. So
yeah,
it's just good to be back into the swing of things, being able to actually, like, week to week at this point for the last couple of weeks, have one, relevant news coming out, 2, have videos to see, and 3, hear those engines. Because if we're being honest, as soon as you hear the roar, that's when you know it's time to go again.
Exactly, the roar at Daytona. That's what we're looking for.
You'll love it.
Yeah. So there was some racing on the track this past weekend in Daytona.
Can you call it that?
Well, yeah. Single car running was probably in qualifying was probably the closest thing we had to racing.
The ARCA race.
Okay.
The ARCA race was
okay. It was okay.
The ARCA race was somehow cleaner than the Clash, which is...
Yeah,
says something about the Clash.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But first off, on the Sunday, we had Daytona 500 qualifying, because that's how the scheduling works. The other qualifying the week before the Daytona 500 on Fox, making this huge spectacle. Hopefully get the viewership that they want to build up the hype for the 500 the next week.
And yet it's relevant for about 2 cars in the field.
Yep, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Alex Bowman were those 2 cars that became relevant after Daytona 500 qualifying. I did not have Stenhouse in my fantasy lineup. I'll just say that. I had a Hendrick front 4 lockout.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I added the fantasy app after that happened, so I did not have any fantasy picks. But I can tell you this: Ricky Stenhouse would not have been in my picks. I mean, I expected him to be good, aggressive, I should say. Once we got to the pack racing and to the actual races themselves, I was not expecting that 47 to be that bad fast by itself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you compare it to Brian Priest's numbers in the 37, you think, well, what did they put under the 47 car to make it go?
And the
this
37
fast?
Is the primary JTG car there too.
Yeah,
or at least it has been in the past with Chris Buescher.
Yeah.
And then the 47 has kind of been the ringer car, I guess you could say, with Allmendinger for a while there. It was the road course and super speedway car, and you don't know what the setup is now because Priest goes from the 47 to the 37. You don't know if that's just a semantics thing or what it is. But on the surface, it's Priest in the number 1 car and Stenhouse in the number 2 car. But at least early on in the season here, looks like it might be reversed.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think Stenhouse is more... I'd say he's the more senior driver. I'd say, and
he's definitely
he has more.
He's definitely more experienced at the Cup level.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they're pretty close in age as well.
Probably. I mean, Priest started late. He got his break late,
right around 30 as well.
Yeah.
I'll double check that because Ricky Stenhouse, I think, is one of those guys that's kind of deceptively old. Yeah, he's 32, so he's a couple years older than Ryan Priest at the very least. But that one came out of nowhere. As expected, there was a bunch of Chevys up there, especially Hendrick. Like, you had Bowman finishing second there, but Ricky Stenhouse, of all people, comes out of nowhere to snag the pole from Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch, just to seeing his reactions on pit road. Like, every time a Hendrick car that went out, they pan the camera to him. He's like, "Yes, all right, I bit another bullet." So
yeah, because he went pretty early too.
He got a really good time, and the ghost tracking car made it look like he was miles ahead of everyone for a while there until Bowman almost had him, but. Stenhouse prevailed in a new year, a new ride, and I guess a second chance at the Cup Series for him after being booted from Roush Fenway. So good for Stenhouse. At least he's up front. He's not coming through the pack to wreck everybody this time. So
yeah, and despite everyone's feelings on Ricky Stenhouse, he's good for the super speedway racing because sometimes You need those people that are the aggressive drivers. When I think to that, I think of your Ross Chastains as well, who are coming up, that are the aggressive drivers, don't really care about the status quo. They want to push forward. They want to get to the front. They want to win the race. And at times we've seen certain races where there's been a lot of complacency in the drivers. I think back to last year's Clash, where it looked like nobody wanted to win until Johnson made one move, wrecked the entire field, and then it started raining. I think back to, again, last year, the Xfinity race at Daytona last year to start the season, where it was single file, and the only two people that tried to make moves were Christopher Bell and Ross Chastain. Nobody did anything, and Michael Annett, of all people, goes out and wins the first race of the season, and it's like, can you guys try something?
Yeah, just do something.
And
don't
so,
just sit there single file. You're only going to regret it.
And so that's less of an issue at the Cup Series level. But guys like Ricky Stenhouse, guys coming up like Ross Chastain, they're not afraid to mix it up. They're not afraid to go in the paint, rough it up. They're not afraid of anything like that. So even though we may have gripes with them because they've wrecked X, Y, and Z driver
A, B, C, D, E,
times
F, G
3.
driver. Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it makes for more entertaining racing because you know Ricky Stenhouse is going to try something. And at the end of the day, he's still a very, very good super speedway racer. I caught myself there. I almost said plate racer.
Yeah.
Still working on that one, but he's got
the
two
tapered spacer speedway race.
Yes. He's got 2 wins at super speedways. He's consistently at the front. It's not like this is some random guy who's running 10th to 20th who's making a dumb move and wrecking the field. When he's wrecking somebody, it's because he's making either a block at the front or he's trying to get by somebody at the front. So This is a guy who, despite all his flaws and all the wrecked cars that he's caused at these super speedways, despite all the potentially dumb decisions he's made when at the front, he's still a very, very good super speedway racer.
Yeah, for sure. I can't argue with that. 2 wins on the super speedways is pretty impressive in itself. So can't knock Stenhouse for his, I guess, poise on the racetrack for for the restricted. Oh, frig.
There it is.
Man,
We need
speedway racing.
We need like a restrictor plate. Jar.
Just a reminder.
Yeah, it's like our version of a swear jar.
Yeah,
but and that's the exact kind of person that a team like JTG should be going after,
for
right?
Sure.
They should be going after those kind of specialists a little bit. Yeah. That's not exactly the right term for him, but somebody that can go out and win a race and get you into the playoffs, which is something that, as that kind of team, you kind of need. That kind of thing, where for a while it was Allmendinger who could go out at any road course and win the race. Stuff like that can really help your bottom line by increasing sponsorship, by getting into the playoffs, those kind of things. And obviously it's nice to have those rounded out drivers that I thought that Chris Buescher was an excellent example of, somebody who could really excel in mediocre equipment. But Chris Buescher was never going to make the playoffs in that car, simply because there was a finite level that he could reach. And if you get a guy like Ricky Stenhouse who can go out and win any super speedway race, that's something that can really, really help a team like JTG.
Yeah, and just for finances too. If they win big,
exactly,
it's it's totally worth.
That's huge for a team like them.
Yeah, just to have that little bit of extra reinforcement for the rest of the season. If you start out the season strong like this, you get a big payday. It could lead to better performances on the mile and a half eventually.
Like just look back to 2011 and when the 21 Wood Brothers car won the Daytona 500, and it was kind of a lesser point for the Wood Brothers car there at that time. And in the years following, they got back to full time. They got back into the winning ways eventually. They picked up Ryan Blaney, had him come through the quote-unquote Penske system, because that's essentially the fourth Penske car at this point. But winning this big of a race is huge, and really winning any super speedway race is huge. But if a team like JTG could go and win the Daytona 500, come on, that's huge for them. That's by far the biggest race that they've ever won.
Yeah, it's not Watkins Glen with Allmendinger. It'll be the Daytona 500.
Exactly.
The biggest race of the season. Way to start it off. So we'll see what happens. See if Stenhouse can convert that pole into a victory on Sunday.
It'll be tough.
Yeah. but any car in that field has a chance, even Brendan Gaughan. So we'll.
Hey, don't disrespect my boy Brendan Gaughan like
No,
that.
I'm saying
Hey,
he has a chance.
last super speedway race, he did a little flip as he was going into first place. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's very true.
Can you imagine if he didn't get turned there?
And he just like held
If
on.
he barely got, because he barely got clipped, and
Yeah.
that's why he flipped there. Can you imagine if he got by? He's the only clean car that gets through, and Brendan Gaughan
Wins at Talladega.
the playoff Talladega race.
It'd be just
Can
like
you imagine that?
I think it'd be better than Justin Haley's win at Daytona, 100%.
Oh, by far, because that would have been a legit win.
Yes, exactly. But off topic there.
I apologize. I apologize.
We'll just do a quick review of the Clash because that was I could definitely tell it was a preseason race. I'll say that. Way to get the jitters out.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, we had about I felt like 10 different wrecks, but it was in reality like 5, I think. We had Busch, Logano, and Keselowski have one. Of course, those 3 are together once again. They can't separate themselves even in a small race like this. And then as a result of that, we there was a restart. Probably one of the funniest wrecks I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
It looked
that
like-
one was unreal.
It looked like a video game, to be honest. Everyone just spun the tires and just like basically spun up before they even reached the start-finish line.
I've
Like, there's-
never seen something like that on a super speedway.
Yeah, there's I don't even know if I've ever seen that honestly at any sort of track. I mean, there's a couple instances
yeah,
where it gets backed up at the back, but not like the second row and everyone just goes around. Truex got hit, he's gone. I think there's only 2 cars surviving that with minimal damage at least. Like
It
took out a lot of cars.
It honestly looked like, and I know I'm gonna go a bit niche here, but it kind of like the way they shook the tires that bad. It looked like 2 drag cars that just blow the tires off and go about 10 feet and just are swirly as hell. Like it was unbelievable, really. Like I've never seen it where they shake the tires that badly and just turn in. Like it's insane. Like that's some video game stuff. That's some drag racing stuff. You don't see that in NASCAR where you got like there had to be something on the track.
yeah, I'm
There
betting there was.
had to be.
I think Keselowski's car must have had something in it, and he just dragged it across the start-finish line. They just didn't know it. But it just like they all turned to the left after they spun the tires, and then they all overcorrected to go to the right, and then they all came back across the track to get everybody else. So it was a freak accident. Definitely took out pretty much all the cars that were left, and then Hamlin got a little bit of damage on that one. He got it in the right rear quarter panel, put a tire up on the tire, and goes into turn 3 on the next restart, and that thing goes around like Kyle Busch did in the 2017 Daytona 500. That thing spun around pretty quick. So he took out basically probably the rest of the pack, I'd say, for the most part. Like there was, I think, 6 cars after that one, even on the track. Logano tried to keep it going. He looked like a bulldozer. He had a lawnmower. He had his own
6
flower
on
garden.
track, 5 on the lead lap. Like
Yeah. Hamlin became 2 laps down after that for repairs because I heard that they were just doing damage repair practice for the 500
which is funny to say
inevitably-
because if he doesn't do the practice there, he's on the lead lap and probably wins the race.
Probably. You're probably right on that. Any car could have won that race, no matter what the condition was.
Look at Jones's car there.
Yeah.
Like, whew.
Yeah. And then the next restart after that, Larson and Elliott get together when I thought those 2 probably would be smart enough to realize that they could not make contact, but Elliott made an aggressive move on Larson. Took them both out. Jones was involved in that wreck again. His front nose
Pretty
basically,
heavily, yeah.
His front nose basically ended up at his feet. Like it was pretty caved
I don't
in.
know how that car was able to still go fast.
I don't know how the radiator didn't get punctured. Like
Yeah, like
how is that even possible? How far is the engine back from the
I
nose of
don't
the
know,
car?
man.
It was it kind of defied belief.
like
that
it was unbelievable.
there was 5 cars remaining, 6 cars on the track, 5 on the lead lap. Hamlin was a lap down by that point because he got a free pass on the Elliott and Larson rack. And then it was total mayhem. You couldn't keep the lead for 2 corners.
Oh my goodness.
Dillon had it, Newman had it, Larson had it.
Yeah.
Then Jones and Hamlin hooked up his teammates.
And Hamlin was pushing them whether there was somebody in front of him or not. They were just going and hoping for the best.
Yeah, this is where you see your 2-car tandem right here. This is
Yeah.
That reminded me of the olden days of the early 2010s when they had the tandem racing, which I actually kind of liked at that time.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't mind it.
Like it happened where 12 cars got away, and then there was a bit of a pack, like that's kind of thing, and then they would fall back, and then
Yeah.
it would just kind of even itself out eventually. So it was pretty funny to see those two worlds combined, and then Gordon is calling the final lap.
Oh my god!
And he's like,
he butchered it.
When's Hamlin gonna pull out to make a move here on Jones? And of course Hamlin's a lap down, so he's not going to make a move because there's no point. And he pushed Jones to victory by what is probably considered a 1 second margin on the restrictor plate tracks. It wasn't even close.
Now, what was interesting, though, is that he wasn't going to pull out for the win, but something that was interesting is he did still pull out.
To see if he could master a move for the 500.
Which I thought was interesting because it looked like him going, okay, let me see how late I can pull out and see how close I can get. And it's kind of like him looking and going like, okay, if I pull out here, I get that close. So if I pull out back here, just kind of doing some mental notes and some mathematics there in case he's in that situation on the 500.
It would have been funny if Hamlin beat Jones to the line and he's on the lead lap.
Would that mean he has to keep going around and finish his lap? Like, what happens there?
That'd be hilarious. But Jones wins with the most battered race car I've ever seen in my life in victory lane. I mean, I think it's honestly worse than Terry Labonte's win at Bristol that one time when he got wrecked after the checkered.
Yeah,
they recreated the photo.
That one he got wrecked after the checkered.
Yeah, that thing won the race.
Yeah,
damaged. Like it was. I don't know how that thing kept going.
Yeah,
it was pretty incredible. It was an ugly looking car. I might have to get the diecast for it just for the look of it.
I just don't know how they can make that. Like, how are they going to make that?
They just gotta like shrink the car up by like 5 inches.
They have to.
It's
if they make it, I might buy it. They are making it
because
that's just hilarious.
I might put a pre-order in here. It's I bet you that thing will sell pretty well just because of.
It'll probably sell pretty well, and it'll probably look terrible once you get it.
Yeah, it's got all this like kind of weird looking bear bond on it. It's such a terrible color. Like it doesn't. It's just they put like a brownish gray. I don't know if it's something different with the sealant or anything like that. If it makes it better, but at the same time, nonetheless, Eric Jones wins the Clash. In was that his first Clash, or was it his second? I can't remember.
I feel like he was in it last year.
I feel like he had to have been, right? He won at Daytona last year, so he had
that's
to.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
so
right. That's
that
right.
would have been the second Clash. But yeah, one out of two, 50%. I'll take it.
I couldn't remember if he did anything in the 77. Obviously didn't win, but I couldn't remember if there was any polls there for the 77.
No, I don't think there was anything for that one. I don't think so. Anyways, I think he qualified.
They had a couple.
Oh, he did have a poll in the 77. He got the poll at Bristol in 2017.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Bristol Sweet
baby.
So
3 then.
Yes. Wow.
What a veteran.
We're getting old. It's going by quick. John Lazardi's in his third Clash. But Busch Clash actually came back for that one.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
They did a good job advertising the race and making it a spectacle, I thought. It was nice to see Busch back. If it can't be the Budweiser shootout, I'm glad it was the Busch Clash. So, it just makes sense. Those two are the best ones. They had the Sprint Unlimited and everything like that.
Those were dumb. It's
you lost me there.
It's got to be the Bud shootout, and then it's got to be the Gatorade duels.
Yeah,
that's just it.
Honestly. But yeah, that's the Clash done and dusted for another year. It provides a wreck outlook for the 500. It looks like with these cars, drivers are a bit upset, honestly, probably with the package, just because the teams are spending so much money and effort into these cars, and only to have them packed up on the hauler and headed back to North Carolina before lap 50, maybe. It's
the only thing is that I don't think it'll be as crazy in the 500 at the very least, just because this wasn't a points-paying race. It was literally win or nothing happened. So we saw it for the first half of the race, where it was just kind of single file. Chevy was kind of doing their weird thing. And then as soon as they got back together and there was only like 20 laps to go, or not even, we knew we were going to see some shenanigans, because it was literally checkers or wreckers, because it's either win the race or lose and have no points benefits, right? So literally the only point of the race was to win. And when that's the scenario you have, and it's on a super speedway, you're just asking for people to make dumb decisions that they wouldn't make in the 500 or any other super speedway race. And that's what we ended up seeing. We saw people trying to block too much. We saw people making... We saw people trying to make dumb moves around the outside into turn 3 for some reason.
Elliott.
And
was crazy.
just overall, we saw a lot of really silly decisions by guys who shouldn't be making those decisions. But it's the Clash. Who cares? It's a new car next year anyways.
Yeah.
Wreck them up. Have fun.
Yeah, have fun with it. It's they're not going to use that car again for sure. I forgot to mention that Eric Jones actually had a speeding penalty in that race, and he was a lap down before he won it.
Yeah, for a lot of that race, he was 18th.
Yeah, man, what a crazy race! Like all those wrecks helped him in the end.
Clash,
but he
man.
always
Clash.
got involved in them. So
Yeah, that's the crazy part about it. He was involved in the wrecks, and it somehow helped him.
yeah. Made that car very aerodynamic.
I don't know. I don't think
hood
that's
was
true.
flapping in
The
the
hood's
wind.
flapping around. It's like 5 feet
Yeah.
pushed in. I feel like that's not helping the aerodynamics.
Probably not.
And yet it still ended up hitting 200 on the backstretch.
Yeah, Hamlin gave him a pretty good push there. So
They were hitting some pretty hefty speeds, I gotta say.
yeah, 203,
For it
205 kind of thing.
for it being the 18 cars and it's not like a huge pack, they were hitting 203, 204 pretty consistently.
Yeah, if they ever get single file on the Daytona 500, which I'm sure they will, against the wall, they're gonna hit some really
Yeah.
lightning fast speeds.
Yeah.
Also in the Clash, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano had a bit of a tangle. Keselowski was not happy with Logano post race. Then they went to Disney World the next day together, figured it out. But Brad got out of the car looking, hitting his hands on the ambulance.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it's the preseason, but it's bound to happen.
You can tell
He pulls the same move as Logano usually too. He makes the big blocks. So
Yeah, you can tell that he's getting frustrated. There's a lot of tension there just based off of the contract situations, but he's had a tough string at the last few super speedways. He had the infamous like I'm just going to run through you, and then he ended up doing that.
Yeah.
And then but he's obviously frustrated. He's had a string of bad luck at the super speedways. He's got the contract situation coming up this year. They've got the crew chief rotation, and he arguably came out on the worst end of it all, and everything put into one, and it's obvious that you can tell that there's some unhappy people at Penske right now just based off of everything that's going on, and Keselowski's not a guy that's going to hide his emotions, to say the very least.
he's very outspoken.
And I have a feeling that this isn't going to be the only incident we see this year from Penske, whether it be Logano doing something, whether it be Keselowski, he's the most likely, or even Ryan Blaney. So I feel like we're going to see some dramatic stuff from Penske this year.
Yeah, it's a kind of a ride or die season with Penske, just because of,
At the very least for Keselowski and Blaney. If they don't show up, they're gone.
I don't know about Blaney.
Blaney lesser so because
I think
he's
Keselowski
younger.
has a shot of going to Hendrick because of just that previous history with Junior Motorsports. He could take over for Jimmy. I wouldn't put anything past him.
If I'm Hendrick though, that's not the guy I target.
No, just it's not long term enough. And
I feel like that has Stuart Haas written all over it.
You have Keselowski going to Stewart Haas?
I just feel like that just makes the most sense. Like 'cause
Interesting.
I just don't. Well, Stuart Haas
I know
is
it's Ford. Yeah.
Stuart Haas. Well, obviously you've got Ford there, but Stuart Haas has not been afraid to go after the veteran driver when a lot of teams have been skewing younger. You look at them retaining Clint Boyer for as long as they have now. You look at them bringing in Eric Almirola when Danica left. This is getting off topic, but. And Hendrick has skewed a lot younger, and I feel like they're going to heavily target a guy like Kyle Larson. And you look at all these other things, and it just feels like that kind of seems like the one that makes the most sense if, in fact, he does end up leaving Penske, which, to be honest, I kind of think we're heading down that direction.
Yeah, if things keep up this way, if he has more run-ins with teammates or anything, if he has a lackluster season again, he could be on his way out of the door.
If he has a lackluster season, if DiBenedetto impresses in the 21,
Who knows?
if Austin Cindric has a very good season in Xfinity, we could see them maybe want to bump Cindric up to the 21, move DiBenedetto into one of those actual Penske cars. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different variables this season, but the Keselowski situation is probably going to be one of the most interesting storylines to watch.
Yeah, he's the biggest name probably on the free agent market, along with Larson, I'd say.
In terms of the veteran drivers, with the pedigree, he's the number one. Obviously, Larson has the raw talent, but has been in a lesser car for his career. So there's a lot of different stuff. But in terms of pure pedigree, we're talking about a former champ right there. So like, and he's not that old either. He's still mid-30s. He's still got a lot of racing left in him.
Yeah, for sure. On the topic of contracts, Harvick signed a contract extension with Stewart-Haas Racing.
That one was surprising.
2023. I did not see that one coming. He had his original deal ended in 2021.
Weird timing for an extension.
Yeah. It was interesting because it wasn't like a press release or anything like that. He was just questioned before. It wasn't Daytona. I think it was qualifying media day or something like that, or Speed Weeks media day. And Pockris asked him, just catching up and making sure if anything happened over the offseason, and he signed a contract extension. So he'll be 48 when that ends. So likely it'll be the last contract of his career here.
Oh, for sure.
And at least we have a timeline. He'll be the last one of his era, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be long gone. Kyle will even be, getting them into the 40s there by then. So it should be...
Yeah, because even by then, Newman will probably be gone too. So
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Harvick was... Yeah, I guess they're probably in technically the same era, but...
Yeah. No, yeah. I just think back to that era, and the only ones that are left that like actually raced in it are Harvick and Newman.
Yeah, after Johnson
obviously,
leaves,
obviously talking about next year when Johnson's gone, but
yeah, I just found that was pretty interesting. Just a little tidbit of news there,
which was a surprising one because the last couple seasons it's been trending towards that deal's going to come up and then he's going to go to TV, and then he's stepping back from TV this year and.
He's really going all in here. He's trying to add to that legacy of more than one championship, and I can't blame him because I think he probably has deserved more than one for the amount of wins and just how well he's ran in his career. So
got stuck at a declining RCR for a while.
Yeah, I mean he almost won it in 2013 if he had a better stretch there in the playoffs. But nonetheless, Harvick signs till 2023. It'll be nice to keep him around for a while. Just nice to have. Just that one last guy for that veteran presence, and then the new era will basically take over from there because I bet Harvick won't slow down as much as, maybe Mark Martin, I'd say, in his final 2 years there. But nonetheless.
When he goes in 2023, he's going to be the oldest guy in the field by a pretty solid margin, probably 4 or 5 years at the very, very least. Yeah. So... interesting decision, one that caught me by surprise a little bit. At the very least, I would have expected him to go through this season, reevaluate how he's feeling at the beginning of next season, and then at that point decide whether he wants to re-up for another couple of years or if he wants that to be the final year. But doubling down over a year out from when the contract's up is
bold statement.
Bold statement for sure from him. Bold statement from Stewart-Haas as well, their belief in him going forward even into his late 40s. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Stewart-Haas has been one of the few teams left that hasn't been afraid to go after the veteran talent and quite clearly still believe in Kevin Harvick going forward.
Can't blame him. He's proven himself in that car, and I think he fits it right at home with Tony and that organization. So...
perfect fit.
Yeah, it makes sense for Harvick. It was a good stepping stone. It was a perfect timing. First year Stewart-Haas, he gets the championship. So everything's culminated to this point, and 48 ends the same number as Jimmy Johnson kind of thing. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but at least he said he talked to some people that had retired already and got their opinion on, when did you feel like you lost it? And he says he hasn't lost his drive to win and compete. So
that's the most
good
important thing.
That's good to hear. So. Good for Harvick. Now we'll move on a little bit. Another tidbit of news that was announced: the 2021 Daytona 500 will be on Valentine's Day next year, which is a week earlier than what it is this year, and it's a week after the Super Bowl. Well,
it's the same week as this year, but because the calendar, it's only 1 week after the Super Bowl instead of 2.
Is it the same? Oh, yes, you're right. Because the 16th,
it's just the calendar's kind of weird. So the way that the calendar worked this year is that the Super Bowl was right away in February.
Right. Oh,
Next
year,
it
was early this year.
It was on the 2nd. It was because Super Bowl is always first weekend of February. So that one this year, it was kind of that awkward timing because it was very, very early in the month. Next year, it's going to stay the same for the Daytona 500, but the Super Bowl is essentially a week after. So only 1 week in between. Don't know if that's a pro or a con for NASCAR, to be honest. If anything, it's probably a pro because the ads that they toss
Can
onto
push,
the Super Bowl are fresher in people's minds. It's not the 2-week layoff.
Yeah, it doesn't fall off. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, at least, because that could affect the Clash and Daytona 500 qualifying if they keep, the same format that they have going right now, even though the game next year for the Super Bowl won't be on Fox because they just keep doing the rotation. But nonetheless, I thought, at least it's surprising that they're starting there's talk about the 500 moving. That's just ridiculous. That's not a debate. They have to have the 500 as the season opener. If you start at anything else, it doesn't make the season feel as special, and it doesn't start out as strong. You're not going to get the viewership, and it's just going to feel like a forgotten race if you move it anywhere else in the schedule.
Exactly.
So I'm happy that they've confirmed that it's early February. Makes me feel good as a fan. And they better keep it that way.
First thing we know about the 2021 schedule is at least one race is staying the same.
Yeah, that's nice. There's talk of a street race too that came out a little bit.
Yeah,
if we have
that's
one in
tasty.
here, Toronto.
That's ambitious.
Okay, but
that's
just
probably
imagine,
looking a few years down the road at the very least.
I'll take a few years. I will do anything to have a race in Canada.
If they could have a NASCAR Indy doubleheader in Toronto,
can you imagine?
Oh my god,
that's the dream.
Yeah.
I'd fly back from the West Coast if they had it in the summer. 100%.
Yeah, there's that possibility.
Miami, I think it was, or no, it wasn't Miami. That's Formula 1.
I think LA.
Yeah, it was just around a stadium. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's just stadium stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're interested in Mexico as well. That's a market they're open. Obviously, if Suarez isn't as prominent, that's probably not something that they're looking at as much, but something else that I'm surprised hasn't really been talked about as much as Montreal as well. Obviously, the Xfinity Series went there for a few years. That was one of the most fun races on the calendar. Haven't gone there in a while. I hope that gets brought back up into the conversation at some point.
At least for Xfinity.
At least for Xfinity, because that was a very, very fun race. Obviously,
they've had the greatest finishes almost in that series there. That last corner.
They've got some unreal stuff there.
Yeah. It's
what Max Pappas and Boris said drag racing,
and then Ambrose and Edwards. Ambrose, the road course king, was unstoppable that day, and he misses the last chicane, and Edwards just over-unders him, cuts back, and beats him to the line.
Come on, that track is perfect for NASCAR as well.
Yeah, it's never going to be. It usually sets itself up well to have a 2-lap shootout, and you have a good finish.
Because that last couple corners is perfect for NASCAR.
Yeah,
you've got the big straightaway into a big braking zone. Yeah. You've got the wall right there, so if you miss it, you're either going to have to stop because of what we've seen with the Roval. I would imagine it would be the same kind of thing where you have to pull off to the side and stop, or if you're gonna make it, you have to make it well, or else you're gonna hit the wall, right? And it sets you up perfectly because you've got the long straightaway, which creates some drafting zones there. But as you pull into the big braking zone, you got the 1-2, and then it's another drag race to the finish. It's a perfect setup for NASCAR, really, at a road course.
And a heavy braking zone into turn one. It just all makes sense. If they can get the viewership and the attendance.
It's the Canadian aspect of it, because it's difficult for an American-only sport like NASCAR to try and get a race outside of the United States for multiple different reasons, legal reasons, lots of different stuff.
Canadian Motorsports Park.
Yeah, they've got the Truck Series 1 there, but that's the only thing. I'm sure that there are a lot of complicated hurdles that they have to jump over to get
logistical stuff.
Logistics and whatnot. But I hope that's something that comes up again, because that's one of my favorite races that I've seen really since watching NASCAR. I mean, those races, when you look back at the compilation videos and whatnot of whether it just be best NASCAR finishes or just road course finishes, those Montreal races are always up there
for sure. Do you want to talk about Formula One? Do you think?
We can touch on some stuff quick. Yeah.
So Ferrari, Red Bull, and now McLaren this morning have released their 2020 challengers. I mean, obviously you're gonna expect. Those are 3 of the 4 cars that finished in the top of the constructors this past season, so you're probably going to expect them to be relatively close to where they were. I don't know how much investment of resources they're going to put into this car with 2021 having the entirely new package.
Exactly.
I think this is going to be because Mercedes might want to keep that dominance in F1, but for the next era, so they might not invest as much in this car with developments over the course of the year.
I think things will even out this upcoming season, just because the focus will go to 2021, which means the top end won't be as far ahead of everybody else because the constant R&D isn't going to be going into this season. It's going to be going into the future.
Yeah.
Which just makes sense from a financial point. Why put so much into this season when you need to have a whole new system going into next season, right? So I feel like the top end will be a lot more even throughout this season. It'll probably be a pretty decent championship race.
Yeah. I mean, if Red Bull and Ferrari, if they develop their car, Mercedes takes a bit of a different approach, or even one of those, even if two of those three do that, you could have Verstappen come up and win the championship because Red Bull's investing heavily into this car, knowing that this is a solid chance, and then take the repercussions for next year. Even with the budget, that's the biggest part. So I'm excited for F1 to come back too. Preseason testing starts eventually. I mean, it's an intriguing season. Not as many driver transfers this season. Renault maybe is taking that next step.
I'm excited to see Ocon back in.
Yeah, with that's going to be a deadly duo of Ricciardo and Ocon there. I feel bad that Hülkenberg didn't get a ride, but I mean Renault, if they take that next step forward, if they can be neck and neck with McLaren, that sets them up very nicely for 2021.
Yeah, at this point we're on Saturday we'll be 1 month out from the start of the Australian Grand Prix.
All right.
Which is some tasty stuff, if I do say so myself.
I can't complain. But one Grand Prix doesn't look to be on the calendar this season. In China, the Chinese Grand Prix has been postponed officially for the coronavirus outbreak over there. So it's a smart decision by Formula One to make that call to not put the fans and the drivers at risk of contamination and everything like that. So I'm props to them. They say that they might try a later date to try and get it back in, but it's going to be very difficult to find a spot where they could make it work. I mean, the closest thing I could think of is when they're on their Asian tour there with Singapore and stuff. So
that's the only possibility, really. But it's obviously a tough situation. You hope it didn't have to come to this, but for everybody involved, this was the correct decision to make. You just can't put that many people who are traveling that often and with that much money and everything involved. You just can't risk that much going to a race when there's just too significant of health risks. And so it's going to create an awkward schedule because I believe what I saw was we're going to have new race 4 weeks and then a new race again. I believe it's going Vietnam, 4-week layoff because of the cancellation of the Chinese Grand Prix, and then back to Netherlands.
I think that's right. I believe that's right. I'll check that.
I saw a tweet about it, something along those lines, but it's going to be an awkward layoff.
I totally forgot there was a Vietnamese Grand Prix this year.
Yeah, it's a weird track too.
Yeah, long straights.
Yeah.
And then kind of a weird kind of thing,
thing
around it, like a statue or whatever, a fountain.
It's weird layout, but
yeah, that's right. Bahrain is second. I forgot about that. Yeah, and then China's fourth. Oh no, okay, China's after Vietnam.
Yeah. So it goes Vietnam. It would have gone China.
It's a month.
And then Netherlands. So it's literally going to be a month in between races that early in the season, which sucks for F1
for viewership. Just to keep that
sucks to keep
going.
Up the momentum there.
You're getting the summer break almost there.
Yeah.
Like essentially that's as long as it is for the summer. So the 3 races, excuse me, and take a back seat. So just wanted to touch on those few things there.
Yeah, and before we get too far ahead, the lovely track gods and rain and whatnot. Apparently there is some chance of rain coming up this weekend in Daytona.
No, don't do it to me. Do not postpone it till Monday.
At the very least, tonight, Bob Pockris says 70s tonight, 34% chance of rain, which is
like 60
scary
in Daytona.
High. Which is scary high.
Oh, man. It's on the verge.
It is Florida, so
it could move anywhere.
It could also rain for 10 minutes and then stop.
But pour rain, and then you lose the track for 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
You know what? I'll lose the track for 2.5, 3 hours, then lose it entirely.
I'll have a night race at Daytona too for the 500.
That was fun.
If it comes down to it, I can
Just
take
don't
that.
don't let Juan Pablo in.
Yeah.
We don't need any fireworks.
Oh man, part 2. Who's gonna be the next guy?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Oh god, that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Let's see. So just jumping in here. So it looks like there's a pretty solid chance of rain in Daytona overnight.
Tonight?
So it looks pretty low, and then it picks up like overnight. So I'm talking like 4, 7 in the morning. Into Friday, good chance in the morning, and then it dies down again. So it looks like we'll be clean for the truck race on Friday.
Okay.
Nothing on Saturday. Like highest it goes is 15% there, so should be clean for Xfinity. Ooh. And then Sunday.
I don't like that.
Sunday, it's good until what looks like 3 p.m. here.
No.
And 3 p.m. it jumps up to 41%, gets close to 50, and then kind of stays there, stays in that range, jumps up a little bit, and then it doesn't go back down below 30 by the looks of things until like 10 p.m. So
they better not like get 20 laps or 30 laps or whatever it is, and then like, okay, well, we lost the track. We're gonna come back tomorrow. You know,
the only nice thing that could, like, the only silver lining there potentially is that if they do have to push it to Monday, it's gonna be prime time.
That's true, but I'd rather have it at night on a Sunday night than have it prime time on Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel as special for Sunday.
No, I definitely no. Like of course you want.
Yeah, of course you want it.
You want it. You want it on Sunday. You want to get it in, but if they can't get it in on the Sunday, because it's not looking too optimistic there. I'll be honest. It looks like we're gonna have at least one caution because of rain. If they can't get it in Monday prime time, honestly, isn't a bad slot either. So
yeah, so we'll switch our things back to NASCAR just for the Formula One. We've got, this is kind of our season predictions kind of segment here. We got about 8 minutes left now. Do you want to give it dual predictions for tonight or no? Probably not, right? It doesn't really matter.
I haven't put too much thought into it.
I didn't even look at the lineup.
Matter. In terms of guys looking to qualify, we know Justin Haley's in on speed. Brendan Gaughan's on speed.
Suarez has to race his way in.
Yeah, Suarez has to race his way in. I think Suarez will be fine. He'll be getting help from the Toyotas if he needs to.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who the others are that get in, but I feel like unless he wrecks out, Suarez is probably fine.
Yeah,
so
I'd say so.
I'm not that concerned about him. We'll see what the others do. It's the likes of like J.J. Yeley and Chad Fincham, Timmy Hill and whatnot, but so I'm not too optimistic on anybody's chances there. It'll be fun to watch. Anytime that there's a race to get in, it's interesting to watch. So
they're gonna probably take it easy in these duels just to keep the cars safe.
I
bet that they're gonna run single file for a lot of it.
I can't see it'll be anything like the Clash.
No. But yeah, the duels are tonight. Should be interesting just to see who gets the third and fourth spot for the 500 and then so on, and who makes the field. Not as big of a win or go home kind of thing, or make it and go home kind of thing as it used to be, but still nonetheless, we got Suarez in there that still needs to make it in there, and that's probably the most intriguing storyline going into the
it's been a while since we've seen a big name like that has to qualify in.
Yeah. And that's about it for the duels. I don't want to spend too much time on them.
Yeah, no, it's the duels. It's fun. You don't need to spend time on it.
Yeah. Do you want to do 500 predictions, or do you want to do playoff predictions?
Let's do
first?
500 predictions quick, and then we can jump on whatever stuff we got time for the playoffs.
All right. Do you got yours?
Here we go. I've been flip-flopping a little bit, I'll be honest.
All right.
I've been thinking some dark horse stuff. I've been thinking some Hendrick stuff. I'm not certain, even as I say this right now, what I'm going to go with. It's just going to spill out. I really like DiBenedetto, I'll be honest.
Can't blame you.
Last year, he led the most laps at the 500, got caught up by his new car. The 21 got into him with some bad bump drafting down the backstretch and caused some shenanigans. Massive wreck. But no, he looked excellent last year. He's going to have an even better ride this year. Penske always shows up to the super speedway races. He's in the Penske affiliated car. I want to say DiBenedetto, but there's no way that a guy that I'm cheering for is going to win the race outright. So I think I'm actually. You know what? I'll go. I'll go out on a bit of a limb. Somebody that probably isn't like the first one to come to mind, just because of the storylines. I think it'd be hilarious if it happened. I'll go. Brad wins it.
Brad?
Brad gets his 500.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Gets his first Daytona 500 victory. After the speed weeks he's had, he probably would not mind that victory.
Yeah. Well,
after hitting the damn post in the garage, tearing his primary car up.
Just from my perspective, like.
He's always good with
I'm
the
not
draft.
going to bet on the Hendricks because they always race together, which means that they wreck together. I really, really liked Benedetto, but there's no way that that's going to happen. That's just too perfect of a story. So I'll go Brad because that's something that'll irk me, and that's probably what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, I gone back a little bit and forth, but back and forth a little bit with the Gibbs guys.
Okay.
Hamlin is obviously proven himself in the 500.
Defending champ.
He looks really well, like in the practices. He was trying moves. He was probably one of the most aggressive guys in the practices, just trying to get some moves, getting into the corners. So I think he knows quite a bit going into this weekend with the package. That being said, Kyle has not won a 500 yet, and I think that's his last thing that he really needs to check off in the Cup Series. And he came so close last year. The defending champ. It's so, I mean, I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it or anything like that. But, I mean, I was leaning a little bit with Harvick too. I thought he showed a pretty good showing, but his 500 luck has been kind of iffy the past couple seasons. So I'll say it. I'm wearing the hoodie. I'll say Kyle Busch wins his first Daytona 500 championship. I like the way that car looked in speed. I think he can wheel it. And as long as he doesn't get blocked by Logano, I think he should be fine. But you never know with that guy. So I'll put KB out there, and he gets his first 500 trophy.
I like it.
That's the 500 picks. Playoff predictions. Way too early playoff predictions, but just
come on. It's not fun if you don't have it way too early.
That's true. Do you want to go, or I've got mine?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of moving parts. I'll let you go first in terms of actually letting us know, but there's a lot of moving parts. This is probably the first season that we've probably had like 22 real shots at the playoffs. Like, there are some people that made the playoffs last year that are going to be hard pressed to make it this year. There are some intriguing rookies in the series that are in cars that didn't make the playoffs last year. There are some, like you look at the 21 as well. That's a car that has been in the playoffs in the past when it was with Ryan Blaney. Paul Menard goes in there, kind of falls off to Benedetto. That's a new breath of life in there. So a lot of intriguing moving parts this season where we could see a lot of different things. And if you get a one-off winner at a super speedway or a road course or something, that can throw a wrench into things as well. So what do you got?
All right, well, you got the big names. KB, obviously Kyle Busch, Harvick, Truex, Hamlin, Keselowski, Logano, Blaney, Elliott, Byron, Bowman, Bell, DiBenedetto. I say DiBenedetto gets in. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson. I have him in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think he makes it. There's no way in his final season he doesn't make it. Like, I just don't. He'll get a fairy tale ending like Gordon did. I feel like.
Okay.
He'll get something like that.
I see that.
That's my bold prediction. Like, he hasn't shown me any signs that he could do it, but I'm not gonna bet against him because I've done that before and I've lost quite big. So that's 14. I'm gonna go. Oh, it's so tough.
It's tough.
These last two spots are ridiculous. I want to say Cole Custer.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Cole Custer in there because. Oh man, do I? Oh man, that's so tough. Damn it.
It is tough.
That's real close.
Okay, so just getting
Eric Jones was another
ones.
one. Eric Jones is my 15th. I'll come back to me on my last pick.
Okay,
I'll make it.
You got the easy ones: Busch, Truex, Harvick, Hamlin, Logano, Larson, Blaney, Keselowski, Elliott. I'll loop in Byron Bowman there. I'm expecting them to be relatively the same. Kurt Busch as well. It's tough. I think that Stuart Haas is going to disappoint this year. I don't like Clint Bowyer and Eric Almirola, so I think that they're both going to miss out. I don't like Ryan Newman to make it again. I'll leave Eric Jones in there, but what is that? I got 3 spots, so we'll go DiBenedetto, Cole Custer, and let's go a little bit tasty. I'll go Chris Buescher.
No Christopher Bell?
No Christopher Bell.
Holy moly.
No Christopher Bell.
I feel confident in Bell.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
No
I did not
Bell.
see that one coming. My 16th pick was actually Larson.
There you
I
go.
didn't realize I
There
didn't
you
have